to a couple of things that I wanted to do. I will be doing the rest of the things on our list in this episode. That'll be completing the rest of the NPC quest lines in this area. We'll be going to the fork in the road where we can start to look at the divergence between the area we're in and the next area. We're going to be trying to do the mini-boss, grabbing a couple of key items that'll open up some more areas for us, and basically getting ourselves in a really good spot where we will be able to go up against the mini-boss at the end of the episode. With having those things off of our list, we'll be in a good spot to take on the real boss for this area. If we play our cards right, we might be able to get to that this stream, but that'll most likely be its own video where we might be able to play with some of you guys online. I might not be using a password this next time, unless you guys really want that. But this episode will be a lot more focused on the NPC centric elements of this area, as well as moving our strength build into a better position. So we're going to go ahead and jump back in. Alright, so last time we took a second to look at the a couple rings that we picked up. We took some time to go ahead off stream and pick up the flame stone plate ring, which is going to help us deal with the mini boss at the end of this video. I won't really get into too much about it right now. We'll see why it becomes important later. But for right now, suffice it to say that we're just going to go and have a quick run through Firelink Shrine to see if anything's changed, as we do want to make that part of our usual habit. It looks like that fog wall is down right here. I don't remember if we've killed any invaders since last time, so I'm going to go ahead and see if there's any seeds here. I don't see any seeds at the moment. I think the last time we did kill an invader was when we had that PC character on. That time we were using a password to accomplish that. Some of you guys might have noticed there's a blue symbol next to the name. That is for a character being over-leveled. If that happens, that character gets downscaled to the host level. So it's really not too great of an idea for the summon to be a lower level than the actual host, because you won't get scaled up. It's only downscaling, never upscaling. As far as our NPCs go, we see that the one that was sitting here has once again moved. Either that or he already was moved. Same with Leonard. I keep wanting to call this NPC the Crestfallen Knight. I think there's a different name that's used in Dark Souls 3 for him. We do have a couple souls that we can use. So let's see here. What are we low on? We're in a pretty good spot as far as Homeward Bones go. Item-wise, we picked up everything. We've got that armor set. Grey Rat won't really sell us anything right now. So the only thing, I mean, I've been making a habit of picking up these fire bombs as we've been going through, so perhaps we'll pick up a couple more of these Homeward Bones, just in case. We'll grab some fire bombs while we're at it, and we'll use these prism stones to exhaust our souls. We have 5 more, which leaves us in a good spot to pick up a wood arrow, and with nothing left on our on-hand souls, we're in a pretty good spot. We could go ahead and check out the rest of the menu options that are available to us now, being that this is a NPC-centric episode. I think it might be a good idea to actually go ahead and collect the rest of the NPCs that we haven't already met yet. So I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this area for now and make it back over to the Undead settlement and get the rest of these quest lines initiated. So we have to make sort of a decision now for which point we want to go to kick off these quest lines. Dilapidated Bridge will probably be the best, since we have the shortcut opened up over near the rats. We could progress forward and take our chances with the arrow, or we could do the mini-boss first. I was kind of hoping that I could save that for the end of the video, But we don't necessarily have to fight the mini-boss in order to get the quest line in that direction going. We can see the fork early, so we can make that decision for those players who are trying to get through faster. I'm kind of trying to pick up a few things over in that area where the mini-boss is, so that'll be our little treat for the end of the video that we'll be looking forward to, and we can kind of go over strength build for going into the middle of early game once we have those items in our inventory. So I think I'm going to go and hit up Dilapidated Bridge. Don't recall if I'm embered, so it's possible we might get invaded. I probably should have checked my menu before I left. Doesn't look like I'm embered. I'm just really quickly gonna flip through this menu here. Looks like there isn't anything there. So I think first things first, we're going to take our shortcut here that we've opened up. Isn't really anything down here, but you can kind of get a better look at some of these rats if you're trying to take them out with like a ranged option, if you're able to use that longbow that we picked up earlier, or if you're just willing to throw fire bombs at them, you can kind of have a better spot to do it there. We're just going to simply take the ladder. Oh no, we're not going to take the ladder, actually. I keep forgetting that we're not on the other side. Get that plunge attack in. I think there's one more rat at the end of the hallway. Simply just wanted to try throwing knives there. I don't really use them too much. We can see we have a door here. It's locked. You can hear that dog up there. Sometimes you can pull him down here. We're going to take that dog out and climb up the ladder. We'll be careful here while we do this, and we'll make sure that the evangelist has made it to the far part of its patrol run that it does. Kind of hear some things going on out there. I'm not quite sure what they are. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get across this bridge that we accidentally went over last time when we were trying to get the flame stone plate ring. We really never wanted to go down there when we were trying to do that. We wanted to drop it on the platform, so I am glad that we took that little off-stream moment to go ahead and do that. We go ahead and try to just make it across this bridge. We're going to get pots thrown at us. Hurts every time. Oh man, you don't want to get caught on the wall. So I am going to run past this initial NPC. I want to try to get this door open here. We will conveniently be safe while opening the door, but we're going to have to run. And now we're going to have to play a clever game of trying to de-aggro this guy here. I really don't want to skip this conversation. I also don't want this enemy to aggro onto our onion friend. I'm just going to go ahead and refer to him as that for now until he properly introduces himself. I'm going to try to de-aggro that enemy. They are quite persistent. So I think he's de-aggroed now. He looks like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this NPC some attention here.
Oh, pardon me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegbert of Katarina. To be honest, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Have you ever walked near a white birch only to be struck by a great arrow? Well, if I'm not mistaken, they come from this tower. Whoever it is, I'm sure I can talk some sense into them. But I have to find a way up. And that's just the trouble. This lift only goes down, you see, and... Well, that doesn't get me anywhere.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click through his dialogue again.
This lift only goes down. But you know, with a little warming up, eventually... No. I've got to use my head and think. This lift only goes down. But you know, with a little warm... I've got to...
So that there is the beginning of a quest line. That gets it going, and it gets that event checked off inside of that quest line. Let's see here. So we went ahead and we opened the door up. We've met this guy here, and he's basically telling us that this elevator really only goes one direction. So this is kind of the point now here where you have to decide whether or not you want to continue through to the next area, or if you want to continue to explore this area. There's a lot of things in this area for the quest line that we literally just started right now with that character. But we're going to just, at face value, do what the game wants you to do and just go downstairs. We're going to try taking the elevator. So this brings you to an entirely another branching path that you can take. Which is progress later. There is another direction that you can go that would be exploring more inside of the area. We really do not want to progress through this area. There are some things that I don't want to spoil, so for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to progress in this direction. I'm going to go back up. Now, we see here that our NPC friend, Zigward, is no longer where he was standing a moment ago. We haven't even sat at a bonfire, so generally events are checked off once you've either sat at a bonfire, teleported to an area, put an item in your inventory, dropped an item out of your inventory, killed an enemy. We haven't done any of that. We literally just took this elevator down and back up, and now... we see that that same NPC is no longer where it was. He mentioned that this elevator only goes one way. If you take it with a grain of salt and you're a little bit inquisitive with this, a lot of people who've been playing this game know of a trick where basically you run over an elevator really quickly. You don't actually try to stay on the spaces where the elevator is, but you basically just do this. Do this on stream here. It's kind of essential for progression through this area that you know how to do this. And there's a whole nother hidden platform here. A whole nother hidden elevator platform for us. So when we went down, this came down. We didn't see it because we were on the lower platform. We're going to go ahead and try taking that up, and we're going to point the camera down. Notice that platform we just went past? And that vocal audio cue we just got. That'll be important for proceeding through to the next stages of his quest line. But we do want to explore this area up here. I usually forget this item. It's a soul item, so I'll go ahead and grab that now. We check out these walls here, and they're all kind of gated in on us. If we keep looping around to the side, we have a set of stairs.
I help any time.
We're going to go ahead and get the young white branch. This will be very convenient for us for getting some more of those quest lines going without having to take too much damage. This is the enemy, now the ally, that has been throwing those big giant spears at us, or shooting them, or however he's getting them. Those projectiles have been coming in, and they've been doing damage to us. They won't be doing damage to us anymore if we can just be clever enough to avoid them. If we stay out of the aggro range, then it'll just take out the enemies closest to the trees that are near the areas that he can see. He generally protects those trees with his projectiles that he launches in. So we have a lever here in case we accidentally send the elevator back down, but we're going to just go ahead and take that elevator back down. One more time, we're going to look at that platform. This time it was on the other side of us. So we're going to be heading back to that platform to get the next stages of his quest line checked off. Now that we've made peace with that big enemy, now the ally upstairs, we can kind of go back through the other area closest to the dilapidated bridge to take care of some of those other quest lines. We're in kind of a good spot where we could talk to him right now, but I'd really rather do that after. So I'm going to try to... You know, I don't even want to deal with those big enemies over there. I'm just going to teleport here. Pretty sure I put it on my hotbar. Yeah, we'll go back to the last bonfire. Don't have enough souls to go back to Firelink. Alright, so we're back at the Undead settlement now. Gonna get a couple things set up real quick. I didn't even have the chat window open again. I've been making a terrible habit of doing that. So I'm just gonna make sure that nobody has been getting ignored here in the chat. Okay, so we've got that going. Take a quick second to just grab some of my IRL Estus. You know, growing up, I thought coffee was the most adult drink ever. And then I thought it was alcohol, but it's actually water. And today, that water is going to be our Estus. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to go through this area without those projectiles being hurled at us. We're going to try to see if we can carefully take out this big guy here. Now watch out for that. Don't want to get chunked out from that bleed damage. Claymore is really doing the most of the work for us there. But we should see now that these projectiles aren't coming in at us anymore. They should be hitting the enemies closest to the tree. So we just want to initially aggro them, and they're going to get absolutely pummeled. We also don't want to be where those spears are coming in either, because they can hit us by accident. Really just want these enemies to get aggroed a little tiny bit, and they'll just get absolutely clobbered. Perhaps a couple more times and we'll be good. Oh, hammer guy. It'd be nice if you dropped that, sir. Or ma'am, or neither. Can I have it? Nope. Alright, so there are a couple things that we missed when we initially went through this area. That item there is one of them. We're going to be getting that a little bit later. I'm really more concerned with this other item back this way. We'll get the cleric set. Avoid that guy. Oh, it's a little bit of a dead end here. We'll go ahead and heal up. There we go. It would have been actually nicer if I didn't even fight him. I really just wanted to grab this. Mortician's Ashes. That's really what we wanted out of this. I suppose... Yeah, we got plenty of Estus. We're gonna grab that other item in here. Come on out. Yeah. That's one way to do it. We're gonna try to deal with this red eye in here. Doesn't exactly have the most health. They're a lot scarier when you're a level 10. Now, there's just a jump that you have to do. Grab this item over here. Not super big for a strength build, but it's still a cool, cool item to have. We're going to take those Mortician's Ashes back to Firelink Shrine, and we're going to see what we can do with those. So that kind of sets us up for the rest of the events in those quest lines that we mentioned earlier in the video. We already got one of them started. We did the other one with the big giant dude. No longer throwing the projectiles directly at us. And then there will be another 2 NPCs that we'll meet and have conversations with. We've already seen one of them as we ran past him and ignored him a few times now, actually. So let's see here. We got a couple souls, not really that much, nothing much to do anything with. But we can go ahead and hand those ashes in.
Well met. How may I be of service?
So we're going to start to check out some of these other options in these menus that are coming up for our NPCs here. We've already looked several times at purchase item. There's another one in here called sell item here. Now, if you have extra of something, or soul items, for example, that you want to offload, it's actually a little bit quicker to do it all here at the Shrine Handmaiden instead of popping them all. It's just, if you're trying to save time, or if you're doing a competitive speed run, this is the better way to actually go ahead and use the soul items, is to just sell them to her, and those will go straight into your soul count or whatever on the top right hand of your screen. For right now, we actually want to go ahead to this next option, and we want to give Umbral Ash. The list of ashes that you have on your person will come up. If you have more than one of them, you'll see more than one of them. You can choose which ones you want to give her if you want to withhold any for a certain reason. We're going to go ahead and see what it looks like to give her this first set of ashes that we've picked up in that area.
Gracious, passing fine ash thou hast given. Let this ash bestow nourishment. I only hope these new wares content thee.
Now, if you go back into purchase item, you will see there are some things here that have changed. Now, we didn't have the human pine resin in our available to purchase menu before. There's a couple things that have showed up here that we haven't seen. I'm just going through and visually checking to see if there's anything different that I didn't notice. So far, it looks like we've got the human pine resin in our consumables. There's only 3 of them that we can purchase. I don't remember if the alluring skulls were already there. We have no materials that we can purchase. We do now have the grave key, so this will be super important for the NPC quest lines that we have yet to start in the Undead settlement area. Kind of puts us in that back corner, lower path. We already sort of briefly checked out the upper path. There's sort of a hidden stage to that upper path. We checked out the branching path downward. That would technically be progression. I'm not going to give away too much of that. I kind of want to hold that back for another video after we go for the main boss of Undead Settlement. Granted, the title of this stream will probably be capping it at the mini-boss, unless it's really early after we do that. We've already kind of done a couple of things with 2 of the NPCs so far. There's another 2. We're going to pick this grave key up. It's really going to help. Really absolutely necessary for this playthrough for us. As far as souls go, we don't have much. 200 isn't much. We'll just go ahead and do that.
Ashen one.
Now, we see the Firekeeper has sort of moved over to the sitting position here. This is one of the positions that she'll frequently be found in. Right over here, against this wall, will be the other spot that she's usually in. When we first came here, she sort of was in some kind of intermediary spot, about halfway between the position she's in now and the actual bonfire. So that is something to note with her. I guess I don't really want to call it a quest line. I suppose you could call it a quest line, but just something to notice about her and her movement inside a Firelink Shrine. We discussed Elden Ring to see if there would be any NPCs that would actually move around, or if they'd be absolutely tied to the areas they're in, or if they would just pop up in random areas. Another point to see if any of that carries over from Dark Souls 3, as FromSoft kind of is known to recycle assets. So we're going to go ahead and let's see here. So we've got that key now. We're going to head back to that dilapidated bridge. That bonfire will kind of be central to us moving through. Now we're going to go back to that shortcut area that we opened up with the rats again. We're going to be a little bit more cautious when we start to drop down. Last time I think we got a little bit distracted with the side area of the platform. We're going to just kind of gun it for these rats down here. Give him a big old whack in the face. Got a couple other little small rat enemies down the hallway. We'll see if we can get them to aggro. Really just blocking with the claymore here. We're not too worried about the actual damage coming from the rats. It's not a ton. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this door again now that we've picked that key up. And we can see that we went ahead and we used the grave key. That was the key for that door. Now that opens up another side area within that first shortcut after the dilapidated bridge bonfire. The first thing that we have immediately to our right is this item here, as a loincloth. We also have this this idol here, a statue of Velka, so we can go ahead and check out the menu for it. We have a couple things in here. We can request absolution. We get a message here that we have not sinned. We can request dissolution, and we can see that we're also not cursed yet. The other option is simply to leave. This will be something that we want to come back to and check as we go through the game. A lot of these menus that come up change as you go through the menu, even if they're not regular NPC characters. I mean, this is an idol here. So we're going to go ahead and we'll come back to this another time. We'll note what's there for us. Came from that direction. We can continue on this direction. I go ahead and before I continue through this part, I'm going to go ahead and make a little note about close quarters combat. Even though we're going to output more damage with the claymore, I'm going to go with the broadsword. It's still a little bit better optimization than the actual longsword. The shorter range is actually going to help in these tight quarters, and that'll allow me to go ahead and optimize my shield and armor a little bit more here. I'll switch back to the knight leggings. I'll put my knight shield back on. I really want to make sure that I'm not clinking off the walls as I go through this next little set of area. We'll go ahead and we'll check this item out in just a second. Doesn't seem like check this item out now, and we'll go ahead and I'm pretty sure that it'll aggro an enemy after picking that up. It's a red-hilted halberd. Pretty interesting weapon if you're into the pole arms. So we'll start to see some of these enemies here will come to life. They are weak to fire damage, so it's something to keep in mind as we go through. The enemies with the falchion will parry you if you're only using R1s, so if you can beat them to the critical, all the better. You don't want to get cornered. So back up and heal just a little bit there. We use the fire damage to our advantage. Get this dead item off of our hotbar for now. The order doesn't really matter, we just want it gone. Pick up that soul item. I think we're going to get a couple more of these to animate in just a second. Oh, and a dog. I forgot about the dog. So we see there that this broadsword is kind of just comboing through everything. It's kind of nice having a little bit quicker DPS when you're used to going for a higher damage output per hit weapon. Kind of get used to that slower feel, but having the quick is nice again. Come out of this little area here. You can hear a crystal lizard off in the distance. We've got an item that we want to get out of that tree there. So we're just going to really quickly go ahead and inefficiently use this bow. Not really concerned with the damage output. We just want to get it off there. It will conveniently fall down for us to grab, unlike the other item, the flame stone plate ring. I have a new hatred for. So I think we came from that direction. Go this direction. I believe there's one more way that you can go. You can go that way. Some funky things happen if you go over that way. I'm going to avoid that for now. Perhaps I'll come back a little bit later. This area has a lot of rats. Don't really want to focus on killing all of them. You just want to get through it. Pick up the one item. Get up that ladder before you get stagger locked by the rats. Pretty sure they just spawn infinitely down there. Coming through here, we can see that we have a gate. Stairs we just came up, and we have an NPC in here, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to have our conversation.
Who is there? Someone there? Anyone? Oh, please, whoever you are, touch me. The dark surrounds me, nibbles at my flesh. Little creatures, they never stop biting. So please, hold out your hand and touch me.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the top option in her dialogue menu.
Ah, yes, there you are. So close indeed. And I am not entirely alone just yet. Praise the merciful gods above.
So we're going to get that gesture prayer.
Oh, forgive me. I am Irina of Karim. I came to this land so that I might be a firekeeper. Your touch has freed me from the darkness. You are a champion, then. I am weak and unfit to tend the flames. But if it would not trouble you, might I enter into your service instead?
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with that top option again, accept her service.
Oh, thank you, sweet champion. I shall take my vows. I, Irina of Karim, solemnly swear to serve you.
She's going to teleport away. We're going to want to make sure that before we teleport away that we do get this door open. As we do have another conversation waiting for us. We wanted to make sure we got that door open and talk to her before we talk to this one here.
Another one of those unkindled, are you? Oh, you faceless undead, behaving as if you deserve respect. Now you've gone and rescued the wench. How very quaint. Pitying creatures that are beyond help. Very well. I'm sick of looking after her at any rate. I'm Egon, a knight of Karim. I am allied to you for as long as you assure the girl's safety. And only for that long.
Now, I'm not going to get moral about the deliberations that we all pass about the NPC characters that we play video games and experience with. I remember the first time I went through this game, I made some choices that I regret making because of my own personal morals and just the way that some of the dialogues go with these NPCs. You almost wonder whether or not they're on your side sometimes, but this playthrough is about getting the most out of these quest lines as we can, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue to talk to them. We're going to try not to make any harsh decisions that we're going to regret later, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to click through his menu.
What's the matter? My terms are very simple. I am allied to you for as long as you assure the girl's safety. And only for that long. What's the matter? My terms are very simple. I am allied to you for as long as you assure the girl's safety. And only for that long.
So that pretty much exhausts his dialogue. There's a couple ways you could go about this. For those of you that are wanting to get through this game as fast as possible, I'll remind you that the direction of progress to basically just get through to the next area, completely skipping the boss of this area as well as the mini-boss, is to go down. Going up would be going directly to that quest line that we mentioned earlier on the middle platform. You could just walk backwards this way if there was something that you forgot in the Undead settlement. We want to go back to Firelink Shrine. We've been making a practice of following the NPCs that teleport away, seeing if they've been showing up at Firelink Shrine. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a Homeward Bone in order to achieve that here. So we're going to go back to the Firelink Shrine. All right, so we're back now at Firelink Shrine. We see the Firekeeper still sitting down in the spot she was. We see this crestfallen character here once again, back where he was. We're going to check his dialogue out to see if we've got any changes.
At the foot of Lothric Castle, an old path still runs below the tower in the Undead settlement. It was used to transport sacrifices to the Cathedral of the Deep. You should see where it leads. If you've the stones for it. At the foot of it was if you...
Alright, so I'm pretty sure that was the line we were getting last time. I almost could remember that he was gone when we were here last at Firelink. This one's still gone. Yeah, we've got the Shrine Handmaiden. We've got Andre, who we haven't seen in a while. We've got Hornix down here. We haven't been over to this side yet, and checking it out, we can see that NPC that we just talked to did make it back to Firelink Shrine, as we can go ahead and we can talk to her here. We do have a message coming up now.
Oh, Champion of Ash. Welcome back. I was not meant to be a firekeeper, but I am honored to serve you beside the bonfire. The gods are ever merciful. My gratitude lies with them and with you. I am yours now. Your wish is my command.
So now that we have some more of these NPCs starting to get filled out at Firelink, we're beginning to realize that this is sort of the central hub where a lot of the questline conversations are taking place, sort of away from the dangerous areas where combat is happening, away from where boss fights are happening. So in here we can take a moment and kind of go through things slowly. We've been going through and making sure that we exhaust all of the talk boxes on these dialogue options that are coming up. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to talk to her quickly and see what she has to say.
You know, in my home of Karim, I was a nun. I would be pleased to share the tales of miracles with you. Although, to be honest, I only know a few. But if I had a divine tome, I could tell you many tales and more. Oh, only I cannot see. Terribly sorry, but you'll have to find me a divine tome in Braille.
So that kind of explains a little bit more about her backstory there. We're getting some important pieces of lore. We're going to see if any of that dialogue changes if we continue to click on this talk option.
You know, in my home of Karim, I would be pleased to share. Although, to be honest, I only know a few. But if I had a divine tome, oh, terribly.
So again, the same dialogue. We haven't really gone into any of these other options, or at least many more of these other options for all of the NPCs just yet.
Have a pleasant journey, Champion of Ash. I pray for your safety.
While we don't have them 100% all filled out just yet, we are beginning to see more of them showing up at Firelink. We haven't really taken a second to go through each one's menu options. We've only been checking the dialogue options so far. So perhaps we take a little bit of our downtime before we go into the back portion of this stream and check out some of the more in-depth conversations that we can have with these NPCs. I've been saying that we would have in-depth conversations with each one of them. We've only really been doing the conversation part of it. We should probably go ahead and really look and take a deep dive into all these menu options at Firelink Shrine. We've looked at the travel option at the bonfire. Attune spell, you'd be able to, if you had a catalyst, you could go ahead and put a spell here. You can see what the stat investments that you are for each spell. You can read a little bit about them, the lore, the backstory for them. You get important information like the FP cost for the spell and how many slots it takes up. It's referring to attunement slots. Again, we're a strength build. I'm trying to cover this quickly here. But we might use a couple spells as we go through the game, so we'll just cover the basics of spellcasting here right now. FP cost is sort of how expensive off of your FP bar, the blue bar, it's going to be. Slots used is how many attunement slots it uses. Right now we only have one slot to use, so we can only use spells that have one, or that take up one attunement slot. We won't equip anything just yet. We don't have a catalyst right now in our build. Organized storage box feature. We've been going ahead and stockpiling all these soul items that we've been trying to avoid using, besides the ones that were slaved out to us that we're going to be relying on for the early part of our build. I'm assuming here that you'd be farming. This is sort of because I don't feel like farming. I'm just going to be using these items here. I might farm for Covenant items later on. But making a practice of stockpiling the soul items that you pick up off the ground is sort of a conservative way to play where you can then use them later when you absolutely need to use them, and you just farm the enemies that you need for progression or to buy things at the Shrine Hand meeting. That's the way that we're looking at it. We've already burned one Undead Bone Shard so far. We don't have any more in our inventory, and leaving just is, it's very simple. You just stand up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look here at the, because she's the closest, we'll check her out one more time.
Speak thine heart's desire.
Now we can go ahead and we can level up here.
Then touch take nourishment from these sovereignless soul.
Now if you look at this window, there's a few different, it's really quite a few different stats that you can use. 4 of them are the damage dealing stats. That's strength, the type of build that we're going to be using. Dexterity, the polar opposite. Intelligence, that is for sorceries, and faith is for miracles. The blending of the two spellcasting stats would be pyromancies. Luck is a very strange stat that affects not only scaling with hollow weapons, but also item discovery. This is your health. Attunement is how many or how much FP that you have, how many spell slots you have. Endurance is your green bar or your stamina. Vitality affects your equip load. It's about how much that you can wear for equipment. It will affect your absorptions. I believe strength and vitality together will affect poise, or maybe it's just one or the other. Correct me if I'm wrong, but having one kind of goes hand in hand with having the other. But I'm pretty sure one of them affects the poise. Sometimes certain items can help you achieve a little bit of poise while you're casting, or a little bit of hyper armor while you're attacking enemies. Gonna go ahead and have a quick little sip of my drink here. Sorry if this Firekeeper's wailings in the background are a little loud. We have all of our defenses and resistances on the other side. In the middle, we have some more information about our character. The attack power that we're outputting on each weapon in each hand, the regular hand or the offhand. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk to her one more time.
Ashen one, so I will show thee ashen.
Same thing that we've been getting before. We have the leave option. Same thing as leaving any other NPC. I don't believe we can do anything just yet here with this NPC here. Just talking and leaving. We haven't given him the item that he needs yet to do more. Check in with the Firekeeper again, or not the Firekeeper, the Shrine Handmaiden. So we've looked at some of these new things that shown up in here from after we gave her the ashes. We sort of already checked that out. We can make some purchases real quick. Really should have grabbed some of those. We'll show off this this option here. We'll sell one of those really quickly, just so that we can go ahead and pick some of these up to kind of make some of this beginning of the game a little bit quicker here. To get some fire damage in a little bit would really help.
Ashen one, if might bring me with ashes, if not sorry.
Same message that we've been getting before.
Ashen one.
Now, there's a lot to do with Andre.
Just good to see, wasn't he?
Now, we could reinforce our weapon again. It will tell you if you have enough souls and or upgrade materials to upgrade a weapon here. You can tab through the physical, ranged, catalyst, and shield types that you can upgrade with the upgrade materials. If you go into infuse, it'll basically show you the different types of weapons that you can infuse. Right now, we have a lot available to us. We've been using the Claymore for the most part. So if we were to have a little bit more souls here, we could go ahead and we could make a raw +1 Claymore, which would just basically give us a flat physical output damage. It would take off the scaling, so our dexterity and strength would no longer be affecting the scaling for our damage output. It'd be flat at 190. Now you have to sort of look at if that's better than what you already have. Now, if you do the math, 151 plus 35, you do the math for that really quickly, you end up getting 186, which it would actually be more optimized to go ahead and put that raw gem in. You would net you another 4 points of damage output. Short term, if you weren't going to be using the Claymore that long, I could see the point in doing that. I'm not really sure if I'm going to be using it short term or long term. Nonetheless, we don't have the souls to do this right now, but it is something to pay attention to if you're looking for some quick damage output on a weapon that you're not planning on maybe infusing again with something else. The raw gem might be better used on another weapon like the broadsword. For right now, we're really too broke to do anything. We just want to explore some of these menu options. You can repair some equipment, different types of equipment that you can repair. You have your regular, I think this is your shields, your weapons, and your armor. You can re-allot your Estus. We haven't really been using a ton of our blue bar, but it's always nice to have another drink. If we really needed the health, we could go ahead and move that over and optimize our health bar a little bit. Can't reinforce our Estus Flask anymore. I believe we have all of the dialogue that we need for his questline right now.
Another matter. Infusing weapons with gems with my humble goals won't be any use in I know. Oh, believe it or not.
Yes, we did. We went through all that dialogue when we first met him.
Pretty be careful, I don't want to.
We'll go ahead and... Well, Grey Rat, so... I would have liked to have explore a little bit more about his in-depth menus before he went into his current state. He wants to leave Firelink right now and do one of his pillaging runs, which would be the first of 3 that he has the option in taking. For right now, I don't actually want to send him out just yet, as I'm not ready to do the boss fight just yet. I want to keep him safe here. I don't want him out there. I don't want to accidentally die and have his questline get canceled. But we will check out another NPC that we haven't really explored much with just yet. We rescued him a few episodes back. When we first got to the Undead settlement, that was actually part of a Lothric video that we kind of bled into the Undead settlement area, but we'll go ahead and we'll explore more of his options right now.
Oh, our champion of Ash. Welcome back.
Alright, so the first option here is to draw out True Strength. I'm going to come back to that option in just a second. We can actually go in and see that he has items that we can purchase. We're going to start having some of these conversations with him.
As I have said, I was once a sorcerer. Alas, the magic of Londor is a far cry from the wonders of Vinheim. But I can teach you what I know, perhaps more importantly. I believe that I can help tease out your true strength. We pilgrims of Londor are keenly aware that those branded by the dark side possess something quite special.
So he's referring to this top menu option here. He seems to really want us to go in and check that. We're going to go back in and we're going to go to this purchase item window. We haven't looked at that just yet. So in here we can see there are a few tabs that we can go through. There's really nothing in them except for this, either your first one under all items, or if you go into the spells tab, faster to just go to all items. So basically in here we can see some sorceries that we can begin to purchase. Soul Arrow, we could purchase, well, we couldn't purchase this right now, but we could use it if we did purchase it. Heavy Soul Arrow is a little bit expensive when it comes to the stat investment. We don't have quite enough intelligence. We're not really looking to put in too much intelligence into a strength build. Again, we could use the magic weapon, as it only takes 10, the 10 intelligence that we have could be used in that, as well as the magic shield. So perhaps next time we come back to him, we're gonna want to have some extra souls on us, so that we can pick up some of those cheap spells, not very stat intensive spells that we could use that would help us out early game on spreading out the damage types a little bit. This top menu option here is drawing out True Strength. I'm going to go ahead and click on this.
Then shall we begin? Bearer of the dark sign, let your true strength shine.
So essentially what this is the beginning of a quest line. We're going to want to go ahead and do this. If you were looking to get the ending of the game where you would link the fire, then you wouldn't want to do this. We're trying to maximize the most things that we can get out of our quest lines here. So to not do this, to simply get an ending, we're going to get that ending on another character. That's going to net us the trophy overall in our account. But we do want to get the most out of our quest lines, and this particular quest line, starting it this way, is going to actually give us access to some items and some other things that I believe might be more beneficial to us, especially early game. To me, having some perks might outweigh an ending when we have that ending available to us on another character. So what this is here is it's some free levels. Now, taking these levels will affect your overall hollowing, and it will lead to some visual changes. It will also lead to some some events getting checked off inside of those checklists for the quest lines. Right now, we can take one free level. I did mention that I didn't want to go over level 20 in this area, although taking a level without having to pay for it and still being under 20 is really honestly great. So last time we brought our vitality up. Our strength is leveled out with our vitality. We want to lead this through as being a strength build. We've been neglecting our vigor and our endurance. Going into a boss fight might be really good to put a point into vigor. We have been putting that off. I think our strength is pretty good for right now. Vitality will have to wait a little bit longer before another point gets dropped in there. The last one went in there. So I think it's about time that we put a point into vigor, bring that up to 13. Our actual overall level right now is 18, so we could afford to actually bring up one more time to 19, because we're still not hitting that boss just yet. But we're gonna just take the free level for now. We'll put a point into vigor. We'll plan to put our next point into either strength or endurance. We're going to go ahead and confirm this, and we're going to kick this part of the quest line event off our checklist, and we're going to get this going here. Let's see if that dialogue changed at all.
As I have said, alas, the matter, but I can perhaps weep at those.
All right, so we've basically started that quest line now. Dialogue hasn't changed yet, so we're going to go ahead and leave.
Safe.
We did get one free level out of that, which is quite interesting. That starts off the Yoel of Londor quest line. It's going to be pretty important as we move through the stages of early game. I'll be coming back to some important points about his quest line with respect to progress. There are certain points that you really want to make sure that you're talking to everybody. It's why it's important to come back to Firelink Shrine every once in a while. We're going to take a quick sit here. I'm going to grab some IRL Estus today. Character kind of easily stays hydrated. I got to do that manually. Alright, so we have got pretty much an in-depth look at all of the... Well, there's one more. Sorry, guys. I'm just excited for the mini-boss. We haven't checked out a couple of our other NPCs on this side of Firelink. We looked at the merchants. We looked at Yoel and the central starting NPC characters, but we haven't really checked out any of the caster characters for the NPCs. So we're gonna look at their options in the menus now.
I am pleased to have a pupil as dedicated as you.
So talking to him nets us a gesture. Like I said, very important to keep coming back here and keep talking to them, even if it seems repetitive and redundant. We're going to go ahead and just talk to him.
You'll need a pyromancy tome to go unorthodox if this were the Great Swamp.
Yeah, we did get those that dialogue last time.
I know, and
Maybe he just missed us, but nonetheless, we net that gesture. We're going to be looking through our gestures in a second before we hit that bonfire again. We're going to go into this this top option here. Learn pyromancies. See if there's anything in here for us. We have a base pyromancy fireball. It's very, very inexpensive with the stat investment. It only takes 6 for both intelligence and faith. We easily could pick that up. Fire surge, it only takes the 6 intelligence, so even less expensive. Great combustion, which a little bit more stat expensive, but we can still manage to pull that off with our 10 intelligence and faith. The upgraded version of the base pyromancy that comes with the pyromancy flame in the form of the weapon art. Regular combustion, this is great combustion. basically just a more powerful version of combustion. And we have Flash Sweat, which is really great at reducing fire damage to our character. This would actually be pretty useful to us. We're not really looking to output much damage with our pyromancies, as we're not a caster. But I don't see anything wrong with using some of the utility pyromancies.
Do not be gone for long.
So we're going to keep that
What
in
is a
mind.
teacher without a pupil?
I wasn't done with you. We're going to go into purchase item, and we see that he actually does have a pyromancer armor set in here. It's really the only items that we can buy off of him. You can reinforce the pyromancy flame. This is kind of interesting. It's sort of similar to the way that Andre works with weapons. He can do this with your pyromancy flame. It does use titanite shards, the same as regular weapons used to upgrade, so you'll have to be balancing out where you put your upgrade materials. If you are a split character between physical damage and pyromancy damage in the form of using your pyromancy flame. And talk to him. We already did that.
Do not. What is it?
And we can have the leave option. And then, of course, the NPC that we just brought back to Firelink.
Oh, Champion of Ash. Welcome back. Do you wish to hear a tale? You only have to ask.
Get some new dialogue with her. Second time talking to her. We'll go into that top option, Learn Miracles. There's a couple spells in here that we could pick up. We can see that Faith is a little bit more stat intensive in early game. We'd have to have at least 12 Faith to be able to use any of these miracles. Right now we only have 10. Later on we might be able to do something about that, but right now it's just too expensive for us to be using any of these spells. We can go through and see if there's anything else in here that we can pick up. If you go into purchase item, there is the Saint's Ring that you can buy for 300 souls. It gives you another attunement slot, so if you are a caster and you need another spell on your build really quickly, the easy way to accomplish that.
You know, in my home of Karim, I would be pleased, although, but if I had... Oh, terribly.
Same dialogue.
Have a pleasant journey.
And that's pretty much wraps up all of the conversations that we needed to have at Firelink. For right now, it puts us in a really good spot to go ahead and tackle that last part of the video's questlines. And that will kind of segue into the mini-boss that we wanted to hit at the end of the stream. There'll be a couple other item grabs that I'd like to do. We'll see how long this has been going for. And we'll kind of decide after that what we want to do with grabbing those items. I may come back in another video, but I really wanted that other video to just be going through and doing the main boss fight for this Undead settlement area. So we're probably going to keep going for now while we have the energy. We haven't been online for this, so we haven't been having to worry about our connection too much. So let's see here. The dilapidated bridge has been sort of the spot for doing this. I think that's going to be the best spot to continue to do this last part of the quests that we want to get off this list here, an Undead settlement. Now this will be a little bit more difficult of a run. Last time we came over here, we were in an animation where we were opening the door. I kind of gave us a few iframes, protected us from the bleed buildup on these bigger enemies. We're not going to have that this time as the door is already open, so we're going to have to do a little bit of a speed run to get over there. Still going to take out this rat enemy all the same. We're going to try going through. Getting a few more hits in a little bit quicker. We have that faster DPS that I mentioned earlier. We're still using the broadsword. to see if we can get this dog that was last here to come down again. Doesn't even seem to be there this time. There he is. Come on. Come on, pup. Wow. Well, you can have fun down there. Interestingly enough, that Evangelist enemy doesn't seem to be aggroing. Really don't want to deal with her and the pod enemies. Wow. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to quickly... It's going to take too long. I'll go ahead and really quickly see. We're going to make a quick addition to our build here if we need to regen some health. While we're waiting around, we can go ahead and throw on the, I believe it is called, yes, the Blessed Red and White shield. It's already +1. That shield will regen us a little bit of health while we're sitting here passively. It is a shield that we picked up off a corpse that we shot down when we were on the lower path in the back corner of the Undead settlement. It's rather light, so we can afford to have that on there with our Knight shield. I was going to put the Claymore back on, but I didn't feel like changing around my armor. We are able to still afford... Well, we can't quite afford that dagger on there now with that shield. We could go ahead and put our longsword back on, and that puts us in a spot where we're not outputting as much damage, but we are a little bit more comfortable with our moveset with that longsword back on there. We have a little bit more range. While we passively regen some health, just going to sit here, let that do its job. We are going to want to run out there and get across that bridge. Sounds like absolutely everything is on our tail right now. Gonna want to make it up this elevator here. Gonna heal up. Now that platform that was just on our right side as we were coming up this elevator is gonna be the one that we're gonna want to drop down to. We're just gonna hit it a couple times to get our timing right on the way up. Nope. I went for it. I shouldn't have went for it. Luckily, we didn't have that many souls. So let that be a lesson of what not to do. Should have taken my own advice and went down again. So we're just gonna redo that run real quick. Scoundrels, I tell you. We're getting those audio cues. We got the dog that jumped down. We heard the ping pong from the evangelist starting her patrol. See, that dog is starting to leave now. Tells us that little bit of a parade has started to leave. I hear stuff going on upstairs. Let's see if we can make it across this platform now. Across this bridge. Now this time, I believe the elevator will be already up. So taking this one will bring us down. I was incorrect. Yes, this is what we want. Try to hit this jump this time. Get ourselves lined up really nice and good before we go ahead and do it. We don't take that much fall damage. Now we can continue through this next part of the quest line with the conversation.
Ah, oh, don't disappear like that. You had me downright worried. But thanks to you, an epiphany has struck me square in the head. I've unraveled the riddle of this inscrutable lift.
We go ahead and we're going to continue to click through his dialogue.
Some days I begin to doubt myself. I went up the tower, so I thought, then somehow ended up here. I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Ask myself that same question.
Do you see that? That humongous beast? I'm no coward and I've a steady hand, but that thing makes my skin crawl. Now, think twice before you go down that road. I could try talking some sense into him. No, I think not. He's far too overheated. I've got to use my head and think. I could try talking some sense into him. No, I think not. He's far too overheated. I've got to use my head and think.
So that pretty much exhausts his dialogue here. We're going to take a look a little bit closer. Now, this here looks to be bigger enemy. Thinking about what we might want to do with our build as we go into this, we want to be outputting damage here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a switch back to our Claymore. We're going to have to sacrifice quite a bit on our shield here. We'll have to, let's see, what can we afford? We had those lighter leggings on. We had the chain leggings. We definitely didn't have that shield on. I believe we had the warrior shield. See here, yeah, the warrior shield is going to give us the better absorptions. This enemy here, I will give you a hint. It's going to give you, or it's going to be outputting some fire damage, so you're going to want to pop on the flame stone plate ring. You're probably not going to be doing much fire damage against it, as it does have resistances there. So putting that flame stone plate ring on is important. That's why I made such a big deal about picking it up. Everything else you might want to leave on, besides maybe the blood bite ring. If you were a pyromancer, you could pop back on that fire clutch ring. We're going to go ahead and do that since we have the bundles that we want to use. The blood bite ring isn't really going to help us. There won't be any bleed damage right this second. So that pretty much, let's see, can we maybe put a heavier shield? Could put the cleric shield, but it's just a tad too heavy. East-west shield is going to give us better stability, but the physical absorption's not quite as good. It's not quite as good by a good amount, and the stability difference is marginal. So we're going to continue to have the warrior's round shield. Check this dialogue one last time. We're going to get ourselves set up to go into this boss fight. Before this, we're going to make sure we really have our hotbar in a good spot. Really optimize the damage output that we can do. Going to have some ranged option here. Let's see. I want to put those on, I guess. I'm going to move those here. And we'll go ahead. Put that just there. That there, just in case. So you pretty much want to just run right into this situation. Enough to kind of get this thing to aggro. Listen for the vocal cues from your NPC back that way. Wish I had a bow.
No, you should have waited.
So we're going to use this moment to go ahead and buff.
Wait now. I, Siegward of the Knights of Katarina, fight by your side.
We're getting stuck here. So we went ahead there and we had to take an L. We didn't quite get the right type of plunge that we wanted to on that enemy, and it did get us a little bit cornered there. We couldn't get out of that corner. Now we're going to do that once again. Did not really want to have to use an Ember. So we will go ahead and we'll make another attempt.
No, you should have waited. Well, it's too late now. I, Siegward of the Knights of Katarina, fight by your side.
We're gonna go up there and help our friend out. We had to make a Stupid little switch. Please don't kill him. Oh god. Leave my frond alone. Oh god, we gotta get out. Oh man. Gonna have to be more careful than this. Wow. At this point, we're really becoming a little bit strapped for time here. Really have to give ourselves a better setup than we have been. We somehow managed to unequip our claymore right before that last fight, and we wasted way too much time trying to get back into our menu. Be much more optimized going through this next part of the fight.
No! You should have waited!
So we're going to try to get on the other side.
Now, I, Siegward of the Knights of Katarina, fight by your side! Ah!
That's right. And with that, we take down that mini-boss. It did give us quite a bit of trouble in the beginning there, but we went ahead and we took him out with some careful playing and not messing up in our menu at all.
That was quite a performance.
You're telling me, man.
You mustn't get in over your head. We unkindled must put our duties first. But, for the moment, we've a toast to make.
Go ahead and we'll net a Sigbrow.
Your valor, my sword, and our victory together. Long may the sun shine.
Go ahead and we'll pick up the toast gesture.
Well, I'm going to have myself a little nap. The only thing to do, really, after a nice toast.
Go ahead and just slam through his dialogue until you get the sleep gesture. Couple things to pick up in the area. A homeward bone. Continue through. There are a few more things down this way. The large club. This will be a very important weapon for us to look at, being a strength build. It's kind of like the reinforced club, only more club, I suppose. It's just a larger club. I think the regular club, not quite sure where that one, I'll have to do some research there. But I kind of would have replaced it anyways, even if we did have the access to the regular club. The large club would kind of almost be a better option for us to pick. Really quickly, what we're going to do... Just going to walk up this way. Cut that corpse down. Pick up ourselves a pale tongue. Go ahead and pick up the northern set. A couple more things in this area that we want to grab. I carefully go in this area and grab this item. Don't want to linger too much. Head up the stairs. Another item that we can carefully grab in here. To go ahead and we're going to proceed through this room. I'm going to try to just make it through to this next little area. Kind of gets us away from them for now. I don't believe anything else is on this little platform besides a homeward bone. All the way around. Should be safe. Get back in here. Let's take a look here. There's a little drop down that we have to do. We want to basically get our character right over there. We'll go ahead and heal up before we do this. hug the wall as we drop down. Come down here one more time. Pick ourselves up the Chloranthy ring and the mirror set. Well, what else is around here? Yeah, just a bunch of crappy evangelists. I mean, that pretty much gets everything checked off our list that we needed to do for putting ourselves into a good spot for going up to do the main boss of the Undead settlement area. It took us a couple tries to take down the mini-boss. He was not really that difficult. We just weren't playing that well at first. Didn't really have ourselves a good setup the second time as we were inside of our menus, trying to switch back from not even making it to the longbow. We didn't even really need to do that as he would have aggroed onto us anyways. We do have quite a bit of souls from taking him out, so we're going to take a second at Firelink Shrine to just go ahead and cash those souls in. We're going to check our NPCs out here, and we're going to also take a look at our weapons that we picked up. There was a couple things in that little run. Take a second here to grab myself a little drink. So we picked up the Reinforced Club a few episodes ago. We just picked ourselves up the large club. We can't quite use it yet. It does require quite a bit of strength. Requirement on that is 22 strength. We have 16 right now. We see it has C scaling in strength, but it has quite a bit more potential for damage output. Not even upgraded. It is almost able to contend with the Claymore. Claymore is 51 and 22. Whereas the large club would be 148 and 59 if it had the positive scaling there. It has a negative because of the stat investment deficit. We'll just go ahead and we'll check out the weapon for the weapon art really quickly. The War Crier weapon art, you get a buff effect around you, and there's a couple benefits to having that. The moveset's pretty cool. It's a little bit erratic. It's not a weapon that I have a ton of experience with, so maybe we'll try it out and see how it goes when we have the stat investment for it. But right now, I think our character's most optimized to continue with, through with the Claymore that we have. Once we do the stat investment, we'll probably be ready to go ahead and use that item. Anything else major in our inventory that we picked up here? We have the Great Axe. We've sort of been ignoring that one. It's a lot further off on the stat investment, so we'll probably continue to ignore it for a little bit longer. No new straight swords that we've picked up, or great swords that we've picked up. Same axes. Got that one new hammer in there. We did pick up a new halberd, the red-hilted halberd. That one is a little bit too high in the dex requirement for us to use either. We also picked up the Great Scythe going through that area, another weapon that would be more beneficial to a dex build, a little bit more similar to the PC character that was with us last time. A few shields that we've picked up as we've been going through. The War God wooden shield we could start to use. That is a weapon skill shield. We tried out the Bless Red and White shield +1 to give us that little bit of regen on our health, which was nice. The Knight shield has still been helping us out. We haven't really been using the Silver Eagle shield too much. We picked up the blue wooden shield, which we could use if we wanted to have something a little bit more middle of the road. It's not a terrible option, honestly, even compared to the wooden shield. So if we were to look at that, it's a little bit heavier. The physical absorption's not quite as good, although it is more stable, quite a bit more stable. And all the other absorptions are better on it. So it would not be a terrible option to switch over. Still a parry shield. Whereas our warrior shield here will allow us to go directly into our weapon art. So we might actually just leave that on to be able to have that stance quickly available to us. I sort of forgot about that. It would have been useful in that mini-boss fight. So I think right now, we've pretty much done all of the things that we need to do, so I'm going to just take a quick look at my inventory and make sure that I'm ready before I do any stat investment or wrap up. A couple Covenant items that we picked up. We did manage to pick up a fire gem, which might be useful in the early areas going through the game. Having a weapon that has fire damage inherent to it is saves a lot of resources, so you don't have to be constantly throwing bundles onto your weapons. So maybe we'll take one of our straight swords and we'll put that on there. We picked up a couple rings. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to optimize our ring slots here. We picked up the Chloranthy ring, which is going to help us with our stamina regeneration. The Flame Stone Plate ring was really just for that one enemy. We're going to start to be seeing the bleed damage a little bit more often again as we're going through the last runs through Undead Settlement before the boss fight. So we'll pop that Bloodbite ring back on. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have the Covetous Silver Serpent ring on there to help us with our soul gain. And I think having the Fire Clutch ring will probably round out the ring set. Because we have those fire bundles on there, so now that we have the idea where maybe we'll use that fire gem, having the extra fire damage early game will be really useful, so we're going to leave the Fire Clutch ring on there too. And that kind of puts our build into a pretty good spot. We still can't quite afford that dagger. And we certainly cannot afford another shield. So as far as what we're going to do with these souls, I think we'll go ahead and we'll replenish some of those charcoal pine bundles that we used. A few more fire bombs. 50 more souls. Pick up some wood arrows. And with that, we're out of souls. So I think that puts us in a really good spot. I think next time we'll come back. We'll pretty much make sure that we have all the final things ready to do or done already before we leave Undead Settlement. I think we've done all the important item grabs. There might be a couple things that we do off stream just to kind of hasten the process along. Maybe we'll do one last off stream video where we grab the last little bit of items that we've been missing as we've been going through these areas. Perhaps a little bit of backtracking to Lothric in order to do that. But I think our next stream will be centered on going ahead and summoning some people to take down the next main boss and move through to the next major area of the gameplay that we have in store. Thank you everybody who has watched tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And we'll be seeing you soon with another Dark Souls 3 stream. For now, goodbye guys. Thank you.